Today I'm going to make some peanut butter chocolate fudge. It's keto, it's vegan. What you need to do, you get a square rectangular dish, line it with some parchment or that non-stick stuff. That really doesn't, and nothing sticks to that. I have got a bain-marie. I'm not going to use it in the, I'm not going to melt the chocolate in the microwave. I'm going to use a bain-marie. And the chocolate I'm using is Sainsbury's, and it's the no added sugar, smooth, dark chocolate. The carbs on that, I'm not sure if you can see that, but the carbs are 36.8 per 100 grams, but the sugars are pretty minimal, 0.8 grams, and the polyols 29.7. So that actually works really well for us. I'm going to use some peanut butter to swirl around the top. I'm going to use this sheepdog peanut butter whiskey. Now the original recipe doesn't call for that. I'm going to use some vanilla extract in there. I'm going to put a carton of coconut cream in there as well, a sprinkle of salt and some sugar. And as I put them all in, I will let you know exactly how much I do. So what I've got here, I have got 600 grams of this no added sugar, smooth, dark chocolate from Sainsbury's. I'm now going to add the coconut cream. So the coconut cream beautifully came out in one big old dollop from the carton, so I don't even need to scrape the carton out. I'm now going to mix that and stir that through and get the whole thing smooth and combined. I'm going to put 80 grams of the Truvia for baking caster sugar in. Now this mixture is smooth, you can see that there. I'm going to use 2 heaped rounded tablespoons of peanut butter, and those will be melted in the microwave. I'm going to mix in the sugar, the whiskey. I'm going to put a good old slug of whiskey in. Now you don't have to put alcohol in this. If you're going to serve it to children, then don't. It is a very rich fudge anyway, but I'm putting the alcohol in to just make it a little bit more exciting. We're going to use this on, we're going to have this on Christmas Day. I'm going to put a little bit, maybe a teaspoon of salt in there as well, just regular old table salt. Okay, so I've learnt from Luke, my friend that I do cocktails with, that I must actually measure out how much alcohol I'm going to put in there. You can see I've taken the bain-marie out of the saucepan. Because the chocolate's melted, you don't then need to cook it at all. You're now just waiting for it to cool down. So I've put in the vanilla extract. I haven't put the salt in yet. I'm about to put in the peanut butter liqueur. Now this is going to be high in carbs. Not as high as some other liqueurs. I will let you know in the details underneath the podcast exactly how many carbs it is, because obviously alcohol does not have carb details and nutrition on the back of it. It just tells us how much alcohol is in there, what percent proof it is. So I'm going to put a double in, and I'm going to just give it a bit of a taste and see if I need to add the salt. I've already put in the vanilla essence, and let's see what that tastes like with the alcohol in. So I did the whiskey. I did 2 doubles of the whiskey because this mix is really sweet. Next time I'm going to use less of the sugar. I think next time I will use only 50 grams of the sugar. I'll write that down. So the ingredients that I'm using I will put underneath so you can see what I'm doing. Because it was so sweet, I did put a little shake of salt in. I checked it, and then I put some more salt in as well. So I wouldn't even say that was a whole teaspoon. So when you are doing it, make sure you do it to taste a little bit at a time. You can't take it out once you put it in. Here it is. I've poured it into the dish. It poured in really easily, hardly any left in the bain-marie. You can hear the microwave going on in the background. That is to melt the peanut butter. What I'm going to do once the peanut butter is melted, I'm going to put it in stripes across the fudge and then do some lines going through so it looks a bit pretty too, and also to make sure that the peanut butter is mixed going down deep, otherwise it's just on the surface. Okay, I'm going to be brave and do it in front of the camera, putting the peanut butter on the chocolate fudge. I have melted the peanut butter in the microwave, not on full blast, I didn't want to cook it. And you can see it's a nice smooth consistency. If only you could smell that. I just love the smell of peanut butter. It's so good. So what I'm going to do, she says, it's probably going to end up in a right big old dollop. I have got loads of peanut butter here. I am going to use it all because I really want it to be a peanut buttery fudge. So, you know, it is what it is. If it just dollops, it just dollops. I'd like it not to just dollop though. Let's just do it in lines across. Oh, yeah, look at that. Okay, bit of a dollop there, bit of a dollop here. So you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, that, yeah, I'm really not, well, we know already, don't we? I am no chef, that's for sure. But now, look, so it's all, I don't know what that looks like on camera. Doesn't look particularly pleasant. So I'm going to sort of do swirls up and down. Oh, that looks a bit better. But also I'm going to go up and down as well. And I'm going to try and get it mixed in a little bit more to the fudge so that it's not just surface. So you can see I'm just playing with it, trying to get it mixed into the fudge. I mean, it's all going to just taste amazing, isn't it? Actually, that doesn't look too terrible, does it? Yeah, so just a recap of what this is. I'm not going to lick that because I'm just about to, it's my daughter's birthday today and we're going to go out for cocktails and lunch and red wine. She is 29 today and we're going with her little baby girl. She's just been born, 3 weeks old, 3 weeks and a day. My first grandchild. Not that I'm proud, of course. I mean, she's perfect though, as all grandmothers would say. Okay, so let me recap what this is. This is Rachel's peanut butter boozy rich chocolate fudge. So what went into it? 600 grams of really low sugar chocolate, dark chocolate. I use Sainsbury's. 1 can of coconut milk or coconut cream. So I've used a carton of coconut cream. That is 250 millilitres. I then used 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. You could, if you wanted to make a coffee one, you could then at that point put in some instant coffee powder and then a coffee liqueur. But I've decided I was going to do the peanut butter ones a little bit different. Then I also put in, so I'm going to suggest 50 grams of the Truvia for baking caster, not as much as I put in because that was very sweet. And then I did 2 heaped tablespoons of melted peanut butter. So those are the ingredients. And then what do? You line a dish, maybe 8 by 8 inches, it depends how thick you want the fudge, with greaseproof, something that's non-stick. Parchment paper is probably pretty good. Make sure it's really non-stick. And then you, in the bain-marie, you melt your chocolate with the coconut cream. Once that's smooth and melted and combined, you add the other ingredients. So the vanilla, the sugar, the booze, and a little, then taste with a little bit of salt. Then you just transfer it into your lovely little dish, and then you melt your peanut butter in the microwave, and then you just chuck it on, as you can see there. Well, don't chuck it on. You pour it in stripes and do lovely little lines through. Now this does not last at room temperature. It's really warm. So you need to refrigerate it or freeze it. It freezes really, really well. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some foil over it and put it in the freezer for it to set. I am not even going to attempt to cut it until it is frozen. And then I might even have to refreeze it to keep on cutting it because it gets really melty. And what you can do with this, you can actually eat it straight out of the freezer. It just melts on the tongue. It's a little bit like an incredibly rich, tiny little cube of very indulgent ice cream. But you can also just keep it refrigerated. If you're going to freeze it, it will last up to 3 months in the freezer. So it's a little snack that you can go to as long as you don't overindulge. Okay, my next one, I'm going to make brownies tomorrow, and then I'll video that as well, and I'll put these out in a podcast together. do give this a go. Tell me what alcohol and flavours you put in. I could do a chocolate orange liqueur because I've made my own sugar-free triple sec. Maybe I'll do that another time. So here are the ingredients that go in the chocolate brownies. First of all, in here, I've already put in 60 grams of almond flour. In there as well as 40 grams of cocoa powder. You've got half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda in there and 100 grams of Truvia for baking brown sugar, as well as half a teaspoon of salt. So then I'm going to mix that together and we'll go through it bit by bit. And what I'm going to use, instead of flax eggs, I'm going to try this stuff. It's a vegan egg replacer. So I'm going to mix that together and make that up. I think the instructions are with this that to replace, and I need 2 eggs, okay? So to replace 1 whole egg, you add 1 teaspoon of this stuff and 2 tablespoons of water. And you can see there as well that you can actually do egg white there, just egg yolk, and to replace stiffly beaten egg whites, and it tells you how much to do. So this is all gran, no egg replacer. It's vegan, obviously. So I'm going to give that a go. I've never tried that before. I thought I'd try it this time. I'm also in these chocolate brownies. In the main mix is 90 grams of chocolate. That will be melted. So again, that's dark, no added sugar chocolate. There's going to be some peanut butter in it as well. Make sure the peanut butter that you use is only peanuts, no added salt, no added sugar, etc., etc. So how much peanut butter is that? That's 90 grams of smooth peanut butter. I'm going to use maple syrup as well. So you can see I've bought some sugar-free maple syrup. That's in this little dish here, ready. I think you can just about sort of see that in there. I sort of ran out of white dishes. So how much maple syrup? 30 grams of maple syrup in there. And what else? Oh, a couple of teaspoons of vanilla extract. So you put all that together, and then once the batter is all added, oh no, and I forgot about the coconut oil as well. How much coconut oil? 30 grams of coconut oil. And then once the batter is made with all of these ingredients, I'm then going to just fold in some roughly chopped walnuts and some sugar-free chocolate chips there, that you can go get those chocolate chips from Amazon. And that's 60 grams of the chocolate chips and 70 grams of the walnuts roughly chopped. Here's the egg replacer. That's 2 eggs worth. So that was 2 teaspoons of the white powder and then 4 tablespoons of water. So that's 2 eggs worth in there. First things first then, prepare your eggs. So if you're using flax eggs, just look it up on the internet about how to use those. I think it is for a flax egg, it's 2 tablespoons of ground flax mixed with 5 tablespoons of water. Okay, so you need to, when you're making a flax egg, let that sit for 15 minutes before you use it in your cooking. Okay, so I have prepared a 8x8 pan dish here to put it all in. I've put the oven on. Can you believe that? Good grief, Rach, things are getting good. So preheat your oven to 180 degrees and then start mixing it all. So in this large bowl, good old Kenwood, don't have a Kenwood, I've put in the almond flour, sugar, cocoa powder, baking soda, or bicarbonate of soda, and salt here. Set that aside. So I'm going to mix that up a little bit. So breaking up the sugar and the cocoa powder. I mean, it doesn't, it's not going to be a light sponge, so it doesn't matter that much. Which is great, isn't it? I mean, you know how I love to just chuck stuff in, but I am being not so chucky. Well, let's see how it goes. I might be chucky at the end. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I am going to melt the chocolate in the microwave, but not full blast. We don't want the chocolate to cook. And once that chocolate has melted, I'm going to add the peanut butter and melt it a bit more. So I've melted the chocolate on my microwave, I think it's about 800 power, and I put it on 50, so to do it gently, and then I've put the peanut butter in and put that on again for about 30 seconds on 50, on the power 50, to get that nicely combined. And then the next step is allow this to cool slightly, it's not too hot, and then add the coconut oil. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my scales there, put that on and put it to 0. Get my coconut oil and add that bit by bit. So the amount of coconut oil I need to put in is 30 grams. So it's registering 0. You can't see that because it's over here, but it's underneath the bowl. So I'm just going to get a teaspoon and put the coconut oil in a little bit at a time. So need 30 grams. Now I've gone for coconut oil because it's really good at getting things to set, because as you can tell, it goes really hard. When the coconut oil has melted, nearly has now, I'm going to add the maple syrup and the vanilla and the egg, and then I'm going to whisk it. Now this bowl is far too small to whisk, so I've got a handy second Kenwood bowl, and I'm going to whisk it in there. As I said, I don't have a Kenwood anymore, but I do have a hand whisk. The coconut oil, I never used to be able to say oil, I probably still can't, a bit like I can pronounce celeriac. If you watched my How to Survive Christmas podcast, you will know that me and pronunciation don't always get it right at all. So I'm scraping as much of this as I can into the Kenwood bowl, adding the egg replacement, adding the maple syrup, and adding about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm going to whisk that. So that's whisked to get that really combined, and it's gone pretty thick. And then we're going to add the dry ingredients and whisk again. Now this looks really dry. It's because I'm using the egg replacement and it's not got as much liquid as if I'd use the flax eggs. I think I am going to add some almond milk just to get that a bit softer, because the thing is with a brownie, you want them moist. You love that word. I don't want to add any more maple syrup because it's already got the sugar and the maple syrup in, and that's going to be pretty sweet. I think I'm going to get some almond milk. Here goes with a little bit of almond milk. Now see, if you're using flax egg, you might not need to do this. And obviously, I will let you know how they turn out once cooked. That's getting more moist. A little bit more. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And then I'm now adding the chocolate chips and walnuts, giving that just fold through. Put the mix in your lined dish. So that's now in the dish. I'm going to put it in the oven for how long? 20 minutes and see how it is. Maybe 25, but it's a fan-assisted oven. I think I'm going to stick for 20 minutes and just test it then, and then see how it's going. When you're putting it in the oven, make sure it's in there long enough until the center is just set, okay? And then, once it's cooked, allow it to cool completely before you cut it up. Whilst the brownies are in the oven, I've got the fudge that I made yesterday out of the freezer. Now, you can see, I don't know if you can see particularly well there, a little bit of fat on the top, because that shows you just how fatty this is. It tastes really good though. The fudge has been defrosting now for about an hour at least, and it's still pretty solid. What I should have done, I should have lined all around the edge of the dish. So I'm managing, as you can see, to pull some of it out. It's going to be messy. I'm going to do this couple of lines. I'm going to put some in plastic tubs, and I need to line the plastic tubs with some non-stick baking sheets as well. So I'm going to cut those to size. Make sure your hands are really clean, and then just get the pieces, and they do look tiny, but they are incredibly rich. Just tasted it. That is really good. I'm loving the peanut butter whiskey in there. It's not too strong at all. And so I'm going to store them in plastic tubs and put them back in the freezer, but keep the parts separate so it's not impossible to get them out. And then serve them up in some pretty little plates. After about an hour of the fudge defrosting, I was finally able to cut it up. You can see the pieces there. They're tiny, but they are so rich, so indulgent. I put the brownies in the fridge so they really set, and I've cut them now into 16 squares, so it does serve 16, half and half again, turned it around. And it's coming apart really pretty well and easily, as you can see. I haven't tried it yet. Hang on, let me just try a bit. That is really good, actually. And I'm not really into sort of brownies and sweet things. That's really smooth. Got nice chunks in there of the walnut and the chocolate chips. But this is really good, perfect for tea time on Christmas Day, or tea time any day, or even a snack in the afternoon.